Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do.
What she's saying to me is like, love is this thing that comes into our life and it brings with it blue. It brings with it sadness, right? Incredible sadness, along with incredible happiness and, you know, life-affirming truth. And I don't have to pitch love to you guys. You guys know about love. We've been together for so very long, but now things are changing. Oh, I wonder what's wrong. Seems you don't want me around. The passion is gone and the flames died down. You know, I lost a little bit of self-esteem the time that you made it with the whole hockey team. You used to think I was nice. Now you tell all your friends that I'm the Antichrist. Oh, why did you disconnect the brakes on my car? That kind of thing is hard to ignore. Honey, something tells me you don't love me anymore. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Andy here. Hope you're doing great. That was a song by Weird Al Yankovic, or Yankovic, depending on if you're saying his name correctly. It's a wonderful song by a wonderful musician, very, very prolific, has been touring for many, many years. He's thought of as a comedian first, but I often think of him as a musician first. Actually, I don't know what he's thought of. I retract previous statement. Let's jump into today's topic, which is Taylor Swift and her song, which is coming up next. I don't know the name of it, but it is here on the Folklore album. Before we start, though, I want to ask everybody to please subscribe and please like and please comment. It really helps my channel and makes these more possible. Every little bit of subscription helps. So I thank you very much. Now, let's jump in. Hoax. Have I done hoax?
Okay, the word hoax is another word that I love, because I love that it has an X, and I love the way that it looks, and I love the way it sounds. I think with this song being the last song on the album, it kind of embodied all the things that this album was thematically, like confessions, incorporating nature, emotional volatility and ambiguity at the same time, sort of love that isn't just easy. And it's the most kind of symbolic, poetic thing, listing all these things that this person is to you. And I remembered I asked you for advice on this one.
You did. I think you didn't. I think, like, to you it meant different things, and that was a moment of, like, doubt or something.
And I think I said, what if not all of these feelings are about the same person? What if I'm writing about several different, very fractured situations, like, you know, one is about love and one is about a business thing that really hurt, and one is about a sort of relationship that I consider to be family, but that really hurt. And
yeah, and I remember, and this was one of the moments, when Matt, The National and Matt Berninger, often songs are about more than one thing or many sides of a coin, and I just love that. I kind of thought this feels different, and it also feels. I kind of liked the fact that you weren't totally sure.
I definitely had the moment of doubt. I had the moment of, like, I don't usually do this. I usually know exactly what I'm writing about. And I was really happy when you kind of pushed me forward, like, nope, do the thing that makes you uncomfortable, because I think that's what makes it a song that really, to me, stands out.
So that's really interesting that she talks about her songwriting process here, that she usually knows what she's talking about in her songs. Songwriter is really different about this. I've definitely talked about this before, probably not really recently though. Donald Fagen, the guy from Steely Dan, also an oldie, talks about like the eternal woman, the woman that he's always writing to, and it's maybe an amalgam of a number of different relationships that he's had. I think it's totally valid to whatever gets you writing, like whatever gets the spirit to kind of flow through you. For me, I like to just start with phrases that just kind of come to my head. Maybe something I'm thinking about. Maybe I start writing a song about one woman, and maybe I end up realizing something about another relationship that I was in. It's okay. There's really no rules to writing music other than you should enjoy it if you can. Your own music you should enjoy, and totally cool to like ask other people their opinions on stuff. A lot of people can get very precious with songwriting. I can do that, certainly. I can be a little bit too precious with my own songs. The old saying is, art is never finished, it's abandoned. You have to at a certain point kind of give it out and see how it does, and our songs are our babies and our these things that we kind of create over time and love and nurture, and they represent, I'll write a song and I'll feel differently for the rest of my life after I've written that song. Like, songs are emotional events to write and create and to hear. What she's talking about here is she's saying, I'm going to reach out to another songwriter and ask them their advice on it. Just difficult to do for a lot of different people. The Beatles documentary that just came out showed some really great how kind of the sausage was made songwriting-wise with the Beatles. I thought it was amazing. But he talks about, the National, we sing about a bunch of different things. We allow different topics and different people and different things to enter our songs. That's really cool. Again, I've never written songs with like 4 or 5 people. I imagine it's an extremely needing of trust situation. Trust reliant? What is that word? Trustiness? Trustworthy? Yeah, and she says, do the thing that makes you uncomfortable. The old phrase in performance is kind of follow your fear. Wherever your fear is, that's probably where the key is to the next little bit of your creativity.
That line about, it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. Like, anyone in my life knows what I'm singing about there, but everybody has that situation in their life where it's like, you let someone in and they get to know you and they know exactly what buttons to push to hurt you the most.
Yeah.
That's that thing where the scar healed over, but it's still painful. They still have phantom pain.
Yeah.
I think the part that sounds like love to me is, don't want no other shade of blue but you, no other sadness in the world would do.
Yeah.
It sounds like, to me, that sounds like what love really is. Like, who would you be sad with? And who would you deal with when they were sad?
Wow.
And like, gray skies every day for months, would you still stay?
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like she's saying choosing love is choosing a certain kind of sadness. That's initially what I heard, but then she just explains that it's somebody I want to be sad with or know that I could be sad with. I've never been in a relationship with somebody who chose to kind of push those buttons after we broke up. But I know it happens. I think it especially happens when you're younger and you have relationships where it's very competitional. I'll talk about this, that in Hollywood and acting, in Hollywood in general, there's a hierarchy kind of thing. People will date people that they are maybe not necessarily 100% attracted to because they are kind of on this hierarchy. Maybe they make money, maybe they have a role in a TV show, maybe they're a touring studio musician, or maybe they're a touring musician, maybe they're a studio musician. You're dating somebody because they're cool and maybe they can help your career. I'm not suggesting that she's done that. Whatever. I'm just saying it's a factor. It is a factor in the dating scene in LA, and anybody who tells you it isn't is fibbing. And I think in relationships like that, where it's like, hey, we're just having fun and we like each other and we're kind of helping each other out a little bit, and you might be a little bit less inclined to reveal really personal things about yourself because you don't want them to come back. Hey, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to open up to somebody else, and it's hard to trust them. And it's hard to be vulnerable and be sad with somebody. In acting, they call it angry crying. Or no. In acting, they call it ugly crying. When you're really upset and your face is ugly or whatever. And it's such a Hollywood term, right? Ugly crying, but it is like, who can you ugly cry with? Who can you get in that state with and not feel insecure or exposed?
My only one, my smoking gun, My eclipsed sun, this has broken me down. My twisted knife, my sleepless night, my windless fight, this has frozen my ground. Stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do. My best laid plan.
Okay. We're becoming very meticulous here in the second half of the album, towards the end here. Aaron Dessner's musicality is really coming through in the last couple songs. He really likes these little, like, kind of arpeggiated, separated notes, kind of creating the overarching sound of the whole song. This one in particular is so gentle and soft. It's almost like a lullaby. It's almost like she's singing to a baby and trying to rock it to sleep. And now I'm going to play it with a capo, and I think you could play it with just keeping a capo. You just go A minor, do 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 do, A minor G, do 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 do, do 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 do. Up to that bright old D, kind of. There's always a little bit of hope in there, right? In all those chord progressions. Even if they get really sad, there's a little bit of hope. You can even get that kind of waterfall cascade down. My only one, my smoking gun. And it almost sounds like an apology, this song. It's an interesting kind of vibe. My only one, my smoking gun, my eclipsed sun, this has broken me down. My twisted knife, my sleepless night, my windless fight, this has frozen my ground. Yeah, just defeated my relationship. It happens, you know, when you're just inconsolable. Every song on the radio reminds you of the person. That's an old cliche. I've talked about this before. I remember when I broke up with my first, like, super serious girlfriend, like, just, like, not being able to sleep alone. That's such a lonely feeling when you haven't slept alone in a while and you kind of get back to used to being in bed by yourself. There's so many things that just kind of interrupt your daily life when you're dealing with a heartbreak. Stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. Faithless love. Hoax. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do. So we're kind of seeing contradictory points of view almost. Why is it a hoax? Why is it faithless? And why does she believe in it? Stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. Oh, I see. So I read that wrong before. Give me a reason. Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. So she's saying, give me a reason why it is. She's not saying that it's necessarily true, or I guess she is. But important to see those kind of sentence, those distinctions in the sentence structure, just so you know what they're talking about. What she's saying to me is, like, love is this thing that comes into our life, and it brings with it blue. It brings with it sadness, right? Incredible sadness, along with incredible happiness and, you know, life-affirming truth. And I don't have to pitch love to you guys. You guys know about love. But love is good. But it also brings in the blue. And she's like, I'm choosing the depression I have with you. It sounds like what she's saying to me. If love is going to be a certain type of hoax or torture or something, then I would like it to be with you. That's a lovely thought. A lovely thought for the modern age. We are a pessimistic era. All right.
My twisted knife, my sleepless night, my windless fight. This has frozen my ground. Stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do. My best laid plan, your slide of hand, my barren land. I am ash from your fire. Stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do. You know I left a part of me back in New York. You know the hero died, so what's the movie for? You know it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. You knew the password, so I let you in the door. You knew you won, so what's the point of keeping score? You know it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. But what you did was just a start. Darling, this was just as hard as when they pulled me apart. My only one, my kingdom come undone, my broken drum, you have beaten my heart. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do.
I really like the way Dessner and Swift's work is colliding. Such a sad song. Her performance in this song, in this movie, in this video, is maybe my favorite she's done. She seems extremely open and uninterested in judgment. She seems extremely open, extremely vulnerable in this song. It's hard for me, I'll be honest, it's very hard for me to hear the exact chord changes, which is probably why I'm going to have to mute a fair amount of my mistakes in this. She comes in with that lovely little... just a little bit of oomph on the top of the strings, kind of giving a little bit of a rock feel. In terms of, like, it's not really a bop, you know, it doesn't get into my bones in the same way Peace did, or some of the other ones she does, but it is a really lovely song. Again, it sounds kind of like a lullaby, and like lullabies don't really get into my, you know, I'm not like, you know, bopping along to lullabies, but it, you know, it has that lovely kind of vibe, and very soft, very underspoken, not doing a lot of flutters with her voice, doesn't go into a big bridge, doesn't have a big second part of the song, and yet, and it just kind of stays this kind of testament. It reminds me a little bit of a song called, it doesn't sound like this song, but it reminds me a little bit of a song called Look at Me by John Lennon, which is a really pretty song and kind of similar to this in feel. Very soft, very quiet, but very emotional, very true, and very honest, and we're talking about brutal kind of things here. My best laid plan, your sleight of hand, my barren land, I am ash from your fire. Okay, this is all metaphor, but it seems to have a very specific kind of tone to it. My best laid plan, your sleight of hand. Seems like she's going to say, I'm going to go into this relationship eyes open, and I am not, I'm going to choose when certain things happen, and I'm not going to let anything go too fast. We're going to take it slow. We're going to get to know each other. And then it sounds as if he said a little bit of sleight of hand, so maybe a magic trick is sleight of hand. My barren land, I am ash from your fire. Now she feels as if she's barren, or she's been stripped, or she's been, again, used or hurt or wasted in a certain way. You know I left a part of me back in New York. You knew the hero died, so what's the movie for? Which is as if to say, whatever the superstar is that you're maybe in love with, that character is over. So a relationship happened. To me, she's saying maybe the hero is her, like maybe the image of her as a indestructible superhero died. So all the kind of pomp and circumstances surrounding her, maybe not necessary. You knew it still hurts underneath my scars. So it's, like she said, it's scarred over, but it still hurts. You know, I have, I talked about this in a previous video. I have a scar from my car accident when I was a kid. It's a very bad car accident. And I still have a scar right here. I don't know if you guys can see. I'll do this. Screw up here. I love my little scars still because it just, I don't know. Just a little reminder. You know, these are scars from stitches, and a piece of glass went into my hand in the car accident, and hand's fine. But it doesn't hurt, obviously, but it's still scarred. And it's almost as if just to remind you a little bit of what you've been through. And it sounds like she's saying it still hurts underneath my scars. I still remember what my scars are for. You know, once a scar is there, the idea is that the pain should be gone, but I'm going to remember what this is from. You knew the password, so I let you in the door. Sweet talking, possibly, or just he knew what to say. You knew you won, so what's the point of keeping score? So this, again, we're talking about, it seems like we're talking about multiple relationships. She seems like she's talking to somebody that she broke up with, and maybe somebody that she's getting together with. Hey guys, Andy here. As you will notice, the video has cut off. Unfortunately, I do shoot on my cell phone, and when I was shooting this, my thing died before I reached the end of the video. Unfortunately, sometimes when you shoot with a cell phone, there can be issues, and today that happened. So, but what I was talking about here is you knew the password, so I let you in the door. You knew you won, so what's the point of keeping score? When I've reread this now, and this is actually a day later, I really think this is about somebody who understood the pain that she had gone through in her previous relationships and manipulated her anyway. And I think that we're talking about multiple relationships here. I know that we're talking about multiple relationships because she describes that in the earlier scene before the song. But it does make me think of that kind of duality of love, like letting somebody back in, and even if they don't mean to, they can manipulate you. And even if they're not trying to, what's going on with the hair today? They can rediscover certain pains and certain things that you had before in previous relationships. To me, this song is much more of like a journey. It's much more of an exploration, more of an experimental kind of writing technique, and I like that. I hope to hear more from it, more of it from her. Anyway, I am really, really sorry that the cell phone cut off. I apologize. It's a pain in the butt, but it's unfortunate facet of working with a cell phone. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Please like, please subscribe. Please let me know in the comments what I got right and what I got wrong. I know I miss a C there in the middle of the verse and the chorus. So guitar players, let me know there also. But don't worry, next week I will make sure to have a full video and not have to cut to myself in my editing chair. And that's a promise, okay? Okay. From me to you. And until next time, keep playing.